And now he is training wide receivers and football players and doing great things. And he knows something about our new football players here in Chicago. TJ Houshmandzadeh once again joins the Waddle and Sylvie Show on the CarX Tire and Auto Hotline. TJ, how you feeling today?
Man, I'm feeling good. How are you guys feeling?
Welcome back.
Yeah, we're feeling great after this draft for sure. There's no doubt.
Man, you guys wait so long, man. When you guys started telling, I'm like, damn, they really don't like me.
It's not true. We're just letting this thing brew a little bit. That's all.
There you go. Let it marinate.
Let it marinate. That's exactly right. What do we have with this new quarterback wide receiver combo from your perspective?
Man, honestly, I believe greatness in the making. I really do. You get two guys specifically. I know Rome a little better than I know Caleb. But you get two guys that they want to be great. They don't want to be good. They don't want to just, play in a league. They want to be remembered. And the only way you can be remembered is by doing great things. And that's what they're focused on, being great. And that starts with putting the work in every single day. You got to grind when nobody's around. You got to work when you don't want to work. And that's what I've seen.
How did, TJ, before we get into your relationship with Rome, how did you get into, because I know you were in the media business, you did some coaching. How did you get into this aspect of training with wide receivers?
Oh, man, quick story. So one of my college teammates became a college coach, and one of his players was coming out of the draft, and he asked me to train him, and I said, nah. And he was out here in Southern California training with somebody, and I won't name his name. And he called me again and was like, bro, he needs your help. He doesn't like the guy that he's training with, says it's not going to help him. So I was like, you know what, I'll go out there. And I went out there, and it was fun. I really enjoyed myself. Just seeing guys get better from the first day. We work on Monday, and then you see a difference on Friday, and then the following Friday you see another, then you just see the improvement. And I enjoyed that aspect of it. That player did pretty well. And then the following year is when, I had T. Higgins, I had Ayuk, I had Michael Pittman, and they played extremely well. And then it just kind of started, it was like a roller coaster, a snowball rolling downhill.
What is the biggest aspect? Is every player different in something that you have to teach them? Or is there one aspect that you get with these prospects that is important that you teach all of them right away?
Teach everybody the same thing, but everybody's different. That makes any sense. And so, we have a foundation of what I believe works for receivers. Creating separation at the top of the route, beating press coverage. Those are the two things we work on every single day. Now, you may do it differently than the next guy, and so I have to see how you move so that I can figure out how we're going to attack this to get you better. And so we're going to do same things, but for you, it may be a little different. For the next guy, it may be a little different because everybody moves different. Everybody learns different. And it's not just the physical. We do a lot of board work. We're going to understand fronts. We're going to understand coverages. When that quarterback IDs the mic, what does that mean? We're going to know that as a receiver because I want you to know the entire play, why everything is happening. When they blitz, who's picking that up? I want you to know the protection so that it makes things a little easier for you as a receiver. And so we go through a lot of different things, but for the most part, we have our meat and potatoes. Our foundation is creating separation at the top of the route and beating press coverage because the best receivers in the league, that's what they do consistently.
Is it hard to teach a guy like Rome's 6'3"? He's got good size. Harder to teach a bigger receiver, all of those things, TJ?
It just depends on the player. It really does. Rome does a hell of a job of sinking his hips and dropping his weight. He's a quick learner. He'll tell you we was working on some things on Monday, and he was like, bro, I suck. I said, nah, you don't suck, Rome. You just never done this before. And Tuesday he was a little better. By Friday it was like, aha, he starts smiling because now you're doing it like you've been doing it a few months and you've only been doing it a week. And so the really good players, they pick things up really quickly. But Rome does a hell of a job of dropping his weight, and he does a great job of understanding what I'm saying and trying to apply that. He has habits that whether they're good or bad, they're his habits. And, you know, training with him for a few weeks is not going to help. It takes a ton of time, a ton of repetitions. I trained with the same guy my entire career. Me and Chad trained with Charles Collins out here in L.A. our entire career. And we were able to become really good route runners because we focused on top of the route, press coverage, and it was home drill day after day after day after day after day. And so it just takes time.
It starts with loving the game, and it looks, again, from a distance. We haven't met Rome, but we've obviously seen him interact with the press, and he's fabulous. It seems, TJ, like he loves the game of football.
Rome is a student of the game. He truly, truly loves the game of football. That's the impression I got from him. He wants to be great. That's what I said earlier, and that doesn't happen if you don't love the game. And so, I honestly, man, to be able to play with Keenan Allen, learn from him, to play with DJ Moore, learn from him, I expect Rome to he's going to do some great things in Chicago. If he can stay healthy, if Caleb can stay healthy, they're going to set records.
TJ Houshmandzadeh joining us. It's Waddle and Sylvie on ESPN 1000. Obviously, TJ was a great receiver in the NFL for many years, and now he's training them. So does he remind you of someone that you played against or is in the league currently?
Rome just has great ball skills. His ball skills kind of remind me of Chris Henry. Just the way he's able to make a hard catch look extremely easy. That's what Rome does best. He makes a hard catch look really easy. And Rome's fast. Rome ran 10,500 meters in high school. For the people that don't know track, that's fast as hell for a high school kid. He ran a 20-point-something in the 200. That's fast as hell for a high school kid. So he's big, and he can run. And he can run routes. But his ball skills, more than anything under, kind of reminds me of the late Chris Henry, the way he would just make a hard catch look extremely easy.
Is he best suited to play outside or inside, or does he do both exceptionally well?
We work predominantly on the outside, I would assume, because Keenan Allen is going to be in the inside. But all really good players, you adapt and learn both. You learn both because that's what a complete receiver can do. And so I would assume Rome will be able to do both. But learning from Keenan, if he doesn't understand the slide, it's just going to make it really easy because Keenan is one of the best slot receivers in the game, if not the best.
What is your evaluation of DJ Moore? I think everyone knew he was a really, really good receiver here in Chicago, but I think a lot of people's eyes were opened by just how good he was when he was here in a Bears uniform.
DJ Moore is quick. He's fast. He's like built like a tank. He's not very tall, but he's like a big dude, you know, weight-wise. But when you have his agility and his speed and his competitiveness to go win the 50-50 ball at his height, like all those receivers complement each other. And that's why it's like, I'm really interested in myself. I'm really interested to see how this Chicago Bears offense is going to look because the makeover is crazy. I mean, you got Cole Kmet at tight end, Swift run. Like, where's the weakness? Like, really, where's the weakness? And so could the weakness be the rookie quarterback? And if that's your weakness, look out.
I think when we were trying to find a comparison for this trio of receivers, we actually talked about you guys in Cincinnati with Chad and Chris Henry and yourself. Is that a fair comparison, do you think?
And it's kind of crazy. I mean, we're probably a little bigger because if DJ Moore is Chad was a little taller, well, a lot taller. If I'm Keenan and Rome is Chris Henry, that's actually a great comparison, really, when you think about it. They probably have some advantages over us and vice versa. But, they got, you know, on paper, they look really good. And I don't want to put pressure on them. You got to go do it first. You know, you can say, oh, this is going to be that, and, oh, we're going to have a great – they got to go do it. They got to put the work in. They got to understand the system. But ultimately, football is won from the inside out. And so if that offensive line is able to do what many think, then the skilled guys will be able to shine. But football is won in the trenches, and that will never end.
TJ Houshmandzadeh joining us. It's Waddle and Sylvie on ESPN 1000. I don't know if you have ever heard this, but Muhsin Muhammad, when he was here, said this is, and he was a good receiver. He said this is where wide receivers go to die, and Chicago. And you just said that they're going to set records. So do you believe that finally, with Caleb Williams, with these wide receivers, that our grandfather's Bears are dead and that finally we will have a modern NFL offense?
DJ Moore ain't died, did he? DJ Moore looked like he did all right to me. Yeah. And so that right there disputes what Moose said. Keenan Allen is not going to die. Keenan Allen has performed with any and every quarterback he's played with. And I expect Rome to do the same thing with Caleb Williams. And so Moose may have said that out of anger and frustration. But, yeah, I don't believe that's the case.
Well, when we were in, Waddle and I were standing in the hallway at the Combine in the convention center, and we were waiting to meet Caleb Williams. And there was a guy standing there talking to Caleb and talking his ear off. And we were waiting and waiting and waiting. We're like, this guy won't stop talking to Caleb. And we looked up, and it was you. So we were waiting. Was that the first time you met Caleb, or did you go back a little bit with him? And what do you think of him?
I like Caleb a lot. So I met Caleb through a guy named John Jackson. John Jackson will be doing Chicago Bears mini camp next weekend. John Jackson is Caleb Williams' best friend, and so I started training John. And John, when he comes to this mini camp next week, remember I told you this, he's going to surprise all of it. He's going to surprise everybody within the Chicago Bears organization with the way he runs routes and the way he's going to look. Just remember I told you that.
Yes.
But, yes, I met Caleb through John, just kind of giving him advice through John. And so when I seen him, just giving guys advice, just talking. And I actually do remember that. You guys should have just said, come over, and I would have walked away. But
I'm kidding.
I like Caleb Williams, a young man. I wish him nothing but the best. But, yeah, that interaction was because of his best friend, who was John. He kind of introduced us months prior. And so that's how I developed a relationship with him.
We've gotten to know him a little bit just through the media. But what does John say? What is your impression? Because there are so many people who want to make snap judgments. He's cocky. He could be a diva. What do you hear about Caleb?
Man, I'd rather a guy believe in himself than have no belief. Because when you believe in yourself, they call you cocky. And so I would rather have that than a guy that is a turtle and he wants to tuck his head under that shell when he sees and faces adversity. And so I don't mind that. Give me results, man. Treat people. If you treat people the right way and you give them the city of Chicago results on the field, nobody going to talk about that. When you don't give them the results they want, all of this comes out. Oh, he's this, he's that. If he gives them the results and he puts up numbers the way I believe he will, nobody's going to say a word. And so him and John Jackson and Caleb Williams, they brothers. That's his brother. And so if John is in Chicago like I believe he will be, Caleb would be all right because he trusts John. Like I said, that's like his brother. And so if John is there with him, Caleb gonna go to work.
I think John's dad and I were same year in '89. I think John's dad was at USC as well, right, TJ?
Yes, sir. Wait till you see the son. Now I had the son lose a bunch of weight. Man, had the son. If I had run into the son years prior, would have been drafted. He was just a little heavy. Had him lose a nice chunk of weight, and he can play football now.
That's great.
Here's some old guy talk. Okay, it was Eric Affolter and John Jackson Sr., who were like the two of the best wide receivers, great tandem for USC with Rodney Peete back in the day. So you just took me in the Wayback Machine, TJ. My brain just went back to 1989.
Hey, that's a little bit. I'm old, and that's a little bit before my time.
Yeah, I'm older than you. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
You're
much older.
shaming him, yeah. So you think John Jackson could make the team, is what you're saying?
I think he has a chance. I mean, it's tough when you're an undrafted free agent, but worst case scenario, he can make the practice. I train a bunch of guys that are really good. If you walk on the field, you would not tell the difference between him and anybody else. And so, worst case scenario, John Jackson will be on the practice squad if he can perform the way he performs when he's with me.
Any other players you train that we should be on the lookout for?
Oh, man, I wouldn't say you should be on the lookout for. I mean, I'm able to help these kids. But you have to have the talent. I don't want to act like, oh, it's all me. These kids can play. They're going to be good with or without me. And so I'm just here to help them. Each and every year, though, I've been lucky that I've had multiple first-round picks almost every single year. But I care about these boys. I want them to do well. I want them to save their money. We talk about life off the field. We talk about everything. Like, this is more than just you training me and I'm done talking to you. It's more of a lifelong mentorship if that's what they want. I don't push it on them.
I was going to ask you, how satisfying has this been for you to be able to teach some of these guys some of the things that made you such a great receiver?
Oh, I enjoy it because it gives you, especially when they call you and be like, bro, I'm going to send you something that we've been working on. I'm going to send, I did it in practice today, or I did it in the game. Like, when they send me those things and we've worked on something and then they did it and it worked and it's like they didn't really believe in it, but we kept working on it. That's the part that I enjoy because they realized, like, man, I ain't even want to do this drill. He been having us do this drill for weeks. I hated it, but it actually works.
TJ, great stuff. We really appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Thanks, TJ.
Man, y'all take care, man. Y'all fellas, y'all keep up the great work.
Thank you. There's TJ Houshmandzadeh.